What did you think when you heard it?
Well, I was not surprised because I think that was the goal of packing the court with justices who were on the record for many years of being against women's constitutional rights to make decisions about our own bodies. I was deeply sorry that it actually happened. But now that it has happened, I think everybody understands that this is not necessarily the only effort that we're going.
It's so funny that she's like more responsible than most people, and like her fucking idiotic stands don't recognize that. Like, she's literally more responsible for the destruction of medical freedom and abortion as an access, like reproductive health care being ripped away from millions of women. She literally is more responsible for this than like most other people. She's certainly more responsible for this than fucking Bernie Sanders. She wanted Donald Trump to run. She wanted the media to pump up Donald Trump's numbers. The media was going to do it probably anyway, regardless, because he was super telegenic. And it's just like people will refuse to recognize this.
I was deeply sorry that it actually happened. But now that it has happened, I think everybody understands that this is not necessarily the only effort that we're going to see this court undertake to turn back the clock on civil rights and gay rights and women's rights beyond abortion. This is going to, I hope, wake up a lot of Americans. I don't care what political party or religion you are. The question is, who decides? Is the government going to be in your bedroom? Is the government going to be making these decisions? We are only at the beginning of this terrible travesty that this court has inflicted on us.
And what do you say to the supporters, though, who say, listen, we are protecting the rights of unborn children? They have rights, too. What do you say to that? You know, that seems to be the core argument.
I say that, you know, that is predominantly a belief rooted in religion, which I respect. And that's why, in a pluralistic democracy like ours, the court in Roe v. Wade said the government is not going to make this decision. If it is your personal belief, based on whatever, that there is no legitimate basis for abortion, even if you're in the hospital and you're bleeding out, even if you're told that you have cancer and chemotherapy is necessary and therefore an abortion is necessary, no matter what, you get to make that decision. But you and those who support your particular point of view cannot dictate that decision to every other woman. And, you know, for many years, the abortion rate was going down. We were seeing, I think, greater responsibility, especially with the use of contraception. So what is their ultimate goal here if they begin to chip away at all of these rights? It truly is to erase the progress that women have made from the last 150 years.
You know, a couple of the senators have said that they were misled by the justices. Does this say to you that we need to change the confirmation hearing process?
Well, I think they were misled in part because they wanted to be misled. They had...
Just say it, dude. I mean, just fucking say it. Yeah, of course. I mean, she is. This is the closest we will... This is surprising from Hillary Clinton. This is the closest we'll get to, like, someone being fucking honest about, like, these people just like straight up being charlatans. And there is truth to what she's saying. I mean, in this circumstance, one of the questions I would always ask, of course, this would never happen because Hillary Clinton would never come on this broadcast. And of course, this would never happen at CBS. But one of the questions I would ask is like, there's a lot of people who are casting the blame everywhere. Okay. Firing off on all cylinders. Times are tough and passions are high, right? Everyone's heated. Do you feel like you have a sense of responsibility for this? Do you feel like Barack Obama had a sense of responsibility for this? Do you feel like there's any culpability for not being able to push RBG to retire? Do you feel like you had a sense of responsibility for losing? What are lessons to be learned from the way that the Democratic Party routinely assumes that the blame is on the voters for not voting for the Democratic Party rather than the politicians for not running on a fucking platform that wins the attention of voters and will actually draw them out to vote.
They knew that this was going to happen.
They either knew or they were blind to what the history of the people before them. Anyone who is surprised by this is not paying attention.
I mean, I don't think she would. I don't think she would agree.
These people
anyway,
were selected for this purpose, and it was a 50-year campaign. And you've got to give the other side, lots of points for their relentlessness, their total commitment to getting what they want done, regardless of who's hurt by it and regardless of who's stripped of rights.
Is this a time for the Democrats to take on the filibuster, do you think?
Well, I've been saying for quite some time, I think the filibuster should be eliminated at the very least for constitutional questions like voting rights, like a woman's, constitutional rights to make decisions about her own body. So if you can't lift it completely, lift it for those two things that have huge consequences for our country.
And last question. You're a former First Lady, former Secretary of State, former Senator. Do you miss the day-to-day of politics? Is there any scenario in your brain that you would think...
So dumb, dude. I mean, I guess she's asking that to be like, are you going to run again, Queen?
I want to get back in.
No, but I
gotta
miss
pee,
it.
I'll be back.
I miss it.
There's no scenario in 2024 that you would even remotely consider.
I can't imagine it. I really can't.
It's not a no.
Well, but what I can imagine is staying as active and outspoken as I can, because I think our country is really on the precipice scale. I think that we are looking at not only the erosion of these rights, the throwing the door open to unfettered, unregulated gun access, but we're also looking at dismantling the federal government, how it protects our air and our water and everything else that goes along with it.
Do you think our democracy is at stake? We're looking at the January 6 hearings.
I do.
You think the democracy is at stake?
I do.
As we sit here today.
I do.
Will anything come of these hearings? Some say it's a waste of time.
I think these hearings have been incredibly powerful. I understand a lot of people pay no attention, but history pays attention. I hope the Justice Department is paying attention. I hope in these midterm elections, candidates and the Democratic Party pay attention, because you cannot let those who attacked our Capitol and those who urged them on to do so act with impunity. That's what happens in dictatorships and authoritarian regimes. So I think it's important that people recognize if there were ever a time to vote, and to vote literally for your rights and
vote. If there was, it wasn't the Trump election. This is the time. I think one of the things that AOC actually nailed in the vote harder, just vote narrative is that you have to be directional, man. You have to be honest. You have to tell people exactly where to vote. You have to tell people to strategically be like, look, these are the seats that we need to overturn. These are the number of voters that we need to fucking hit. This is the likelihood that we will hit those numbers. Why isn't the Democratic Party, with all of its fucking endless millions, hundreds of millions of dollars, running the fucking numbers to be like, look, here are areas that we need to fucking vote and vote extra fucking hard. Here's our strategy of outreach. Even if you're going to say just vote, you have to fucking literally tell exactly how and where and why people should vote.